afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You have tuned into the Rebel News live stream on this, a Monday, January 5th, 2026. I'm David Menzies and my co-host. Well, let me tell you a bit about my co-host. You know, folks, it was just 5 days ago we were all making New Year's resolutions, and I asked my co-host what was her resolution going forward in 2026, and she said, I have none. I'm already perfect. She is the she-devil with a sword. She is the Khaleesi of Northern Alberta. She is the sensational Sheila Gunn Reid. Oh, Sheila, what a sight for sore eyes. I missed you these past 2 weeks. How you doing?
Thank you, David. I'm doing well. I'll have you know, I don't normally make New Year's resolutions because who waits for a date on the calendar to change something that they know needs to be changed? I just think that's a terrible way to live your life. If something needs to be changed, tackle it. Otherwise, it just gets worse, right? So I'm not one of those people who makes a New Year's resolution. It's not because I'm perfect. It's because I'm a doer. That's what I am.
Well, Sheila, I can tell you since New Year's Day, I've been to the gym 3 days, which is my normal routine. As you know, I am fat, but without exercise, I am going to be circus fat. Anyways, I can tell you 95% of the faces I see at my gym are brand new people. What's the over-under, Sheila? Is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks where that demographic drastically drops off and things resume to normal?
Do you know what? It's so funny. I was talking to my buddy Chris the other day about this, and I don't go to the gym. Not that I don't work out. I just don't have to leave my house to do that. I've got stuff here, got stuff during the pandemic, and like the gym is 20 minutes away. So it would be like a big chunk of my day. So I have all my stuff here, and that's what I do. But I was talking to my buddy Chris about this the other day. I'm like, because he goes to the gym every day. And I'm like, what's happening at the gym, Chris? And he's like, a lot of eager people in new outfits. He's like, that I won't see in 2 weeks because they show up there in their new shoes and their new fit, because apparently that encourages you to go to the gym. That gives you motivation. I don't know the psychology around that, but they show up and they're real eager. And it's like after the 16th, they'll just not be there anymore. So.
You know, it's funny you say that because that's something I've noticed in recent years at the gym, especially with the female demographic. It's almost a fashion show for some of them working out. I mean, and it's kind of, well, I won't go there, but it's a little distracting sometimes because sometimes it's almost a lingerie fashion show. I don't know when lingerie crossed into activewear, Sheila, but again, you work out at home, so you can wear whatever the heck you want.
I look homeless when I work out. I just want you to know. It's like free with a case of beer t-shirt, like sweatshorts, because I'm at home and I can wear whatever I want. Anyways, we should tell everybody what we're doing here. This is the first live stream of the new year. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I got a new chair and it's a little bit too big for me, so I don't know how to sit in it. I feel like a kid, like in an oversized chair. I don't know what to do, and I'm kind of wiggling in it. So don't let me distract you by how I'm distracting myself with this chair. This is our first live stream of the new year. We're going to talk about the news of the day. Obviously, there's nothing happened over the last 72 hours that we need to talk about. So we're going to really work to fill the time today. But if you want to get involved in the show, and the show happens every day, I'm your most frequent host, but other people join me, and then sometimes they sub me off. You can watch us on Rumble and participate there by leaving a Rumble rant. That's our paid chat. We don't take any money from the government to do the work that we do, so we rely on you, but we give you something in exchange, and that's your say. So we'll read your Rumble rant on air. If you're watching us over on YouTube, boy, am I rusty. You can leave a super chat over there. That's their paid chat. And if you are unable to catch the live version of the show, but you are moved by the spirit to help the little network that could, of course, by which I mean us, you can leave a paid chat or a paid comment afterwards. It's called a super thanks. So I think that's it. Let's go to, I guess, Alexa's clips. Alexa and Efron. As soon as they found out, as soon as the world found out, really, about the very precise snatch and grab of Maduro at the hands of the American administration, they got on flights to Florida, because that's where most of the Venezuelan expats are, and of course the Cubans who are sort of in the sphere of the communist hell states of the Americas. And they're celebrating in the streets, and we wanted to make sure that we properly documented it, because the Canadian media right now is consumed by rich, liberal, Western leftists who are angry at Trump for
Shameful.
grabbing this narco-terrorist. That picture right there, I made a joke over the weekend that's how my kids look when they're looking for stuff in the pantry. Just holding a water bottle with blinders on in sweatpants. Duro. Should we go into Alexa? It's a video. She's interviewing an Argentinian, a Doral city councilor. So Doral is the town near Miami where all the Venezuelans live. And Radio Canada, so that's the French language version of our state broadcaster over the weekend, pulled the old Trudeau eulogizing the Cuban dictator and called Maduro a man of the people. And so this is Rafael Pinheiro reacting to that.
So in the mainstream media in Canada, and especially in Quebec, there were headlines saying that Maduro is the man of the people, and I want to have your reaction to that.
Well, he might be the man of a few 10 or 20 people, but he's not. I mean, he's just a criminal. That's it. He's someone that from the first time he didn't deserve to be there. He just got there because of Chavez took power in 1999, and Maduro has been, just another criminal as part of that group. He has been involved in all this. He's a drug dealer. He has been involved in all these narco deals that has been taking place around nations, especially in Latin America. He's not the person that he was portraying to be. But let me tell you, there are worse people than him. The ones that steal in Venezuela, they're worse than him. Delcy Rodriguez, Diosdado Cabello, they're worse than Nicolás Maduro. So that's why we still have a lot of work to do. But Nicolás Maduro is going to pay the price of, again, killing people, kidnapping people, political prisoners, creating Venezuela, making Venezuela one of the countries, more poorest countries in the world. So how we're going to be, how are you going to say that he's the man of the people?
His last statement
for
there,
us.
Sheila, says everything you need to know about Venezuela under Maduro, and it's one of the poorest countries in the world, certainly perhaps in the Western Hemisphere, with perhaps the exception of Haiti. But Venezuela, at the same time, has the largest known reserves of oil.
Yeah, largest proven. Yeah,
Yes.
Largest proven.
There's absolutely no good or valid reason for them to be so poor. But that's what you have when you have a dictator. And I'm so glad Alexa and Efren went down to Florida to speak to Latino people that have some skin in the game. Because to your earlier point, Sheila, I couldn't believe going around the dial at some of the mainstream media outlets, these little impromptu protests outside U.S. consulates. And it's lily white liberals wearing Che Guevara T-shirts, talking in those terms. Oh, he was a man of the people, and how can we violate international law? These are, by the way, Sheila, I would bet my life would be the same people who say if Netanyahu touches down in Canada,
exactly the same
immediately arrest him, right? So, and also, why don't we talk about, I don't think I have seen Trump derangement syndrome at this
wild.
point. Isn't it amazing? And including from senior Democrats. And yet, Sheila, we should point out that the Biden-Harris administration put, what was it, a $25 million bounty on Maduro's head. Now, listen, I'm not naive. I know they had no intention on being serious about that. But nevertheless, it's on record that they condemn this guy as a dictator, as someone who stole an election, a murderer, a kidnapper, a narco-terrorist. But when it's Donald Trump that does something tangible to put an end to this, suddenly he's the man of the people, and Donald Trump is breaking international law. It's really something to see, isn't it?
You know, well, I just put it in the chat. We can bring up Andrew Coyne in a second. But
no.
the more and on the Trump derangement stuff, because if you see somebody prattling on about international law and Trump's violating international law, just go back in their timeline, keyword search Venezuela or Maduro, and you'll see under the Biden-Harris administration, there's like, somebody's got to do something about Maduro. He's stealing elections. And so Trump's like, okay, fine, I will. And now they're freaking out because they don't like the guy who did it. It's like they are, as I told John Ivison today, they're siding with Maduro to own Trump. That's how little you care about the Venezuelan people. But, and we'll get to Andrew Coyne in a second, but I just wanted to point out something that I kind of noticed over the weekend watching this, and just with utter amazement at the precision. And now we know even more about how the plan shook out, like how they were able to distract the Venezuelan forces, override their state-of-the-art Chinese technology to just go in there, not kill a single civilian, and snatch Maduro out. The American military has had this might for a long time. They could have done this sort of stuff in Afghanistan. Biden wouldn't let them. This is what the American military is, what we saw over the weekend. But they have not been allowed to operate at maximum capacity and potential for a very long time. And what a shame on the Democrats that they didn't allow the American military to do what we saw in Venezuela, in Afghanistan in the past.
Oh, Sheila, I think it's even worse than what you're framing it as. I think the U.S. retreat from Afghanistan under Biden, that might be the most despicable day in the U.S. military's history. Not the fault of the U.S. military, but of the commander-in-chief at the time, leaving behind billions of dollars of American military equipment, thereby arming the Taliban, putting the Taliban on steroids, leaving behind translators, allies. That was despicable. Something you never would have seen if Trump would have been in the White House at the time.
Right. I just want to point out Andrew Coyne, one of the most ridiculous boiled potatoes on the Power and Politics panel. Becoming indistinguishable in his personal aesthetic to Chantal Hébert.
Oh, that's harsh.
It's mean to both of them, honestly. And look, I'm not winning any beauty pageants either, but at least I look like myself. Andrew Coyne, before and after suffering Trump derangement syndrome. Can we bring up this tweet from Ryan Garrettson? And again, just do this for yourself. It's an experiment. If you see somebody going on about international law and how Trump's breaking it, just go and keyword search Venezuela or Maduro and go back about 4 years and see what you find. This is Andrew Coyne. In 2024, okay, August, international action. What just happened? It's maybe the only avenue to force out Maduro, who over 11 years of authoritarian rule has overseen an economic implosion, diplomatic isolation, and the exodus of nearly 8 million Venezuelans. Okay, that's when Biden's in power. There it is. Explicitly aligning Conservative Party with Trump lawlessness. So he's calling for international action. Now he's saying what Trump did was lawless. Because Poilievre congratulated President Trump on successfully arresting the narco-terrorist socialist dictator Maduro, who should live out his days in prison. I think living out his days in prison would be a little bit too nice. I did like to see, I enjoyed seeing the perp walk when he was brought into the facility in New York. But yeah, and like Poilievre's wife is a Venezuelan refugee.
Oh, what does she know, Sheila?
Well,
Come
I
on.
know. What does she know? Andrew Coyne knows it all from his Laurentian perch somewhere.
You know, again,
gargoyle.
you've just made the case. This is all about Trump derangement syndrome, because Andrew Coyne has been proven to be a fraud going back less than 2 years ago to what he said then and what he's saying now. And what's the defining part here? It's President Donald Trump. You know, Sheila, they could cast President Trump as Dorothy in a remake of The Wizard of Oz, and the left would lose their marbles at the scene where the Wicked Witch of the West is melted by a bucket of water. Why did he do that? He's violated international mythical law, right?
We don't have to look that far. I was going to say, if Trump cured cancer, the people would be going out there and getting cancer to own Trump. But he literally, his administration uncovered why all the young people have autism and then offered a solution to that autism. And what you have is people taking Tylenol to give their babies autism. Like, this is the derangement of these people. We've got another video from Alexa.
Okay.
Venezuelan exile in Doral, Florida, praises Trump's capture of Maduro. What does this Venezuelan exile know that Andrew Coyne doesn't? Come on. Come on.
What bring you out here today?
The love for my homeland, which is Venezuela. I was born there. Unfortunately, I have to come when I was 8 because we have to flee the country because of the political issues. But yeah, the love for the homeland.
What is your experience over there and your family experience?
Well, everybody's suffering over there. There's barely anything for anyone over there. So yeah, that's just the experience that the whole country is going through right now.
So what would you say to the people, the leftist people, who are taking to the street to protest in favor of Nicolas Maduro?
So none of them that are protesting outside the country are actually Venezuelans or lived through it. So they can't really speak unless they actually lived through it. So they won't know what it is to not know whether you're going to get a dinner or what are you going to eat the next day. Living off $2 a month because they don't have anything to, basing off on what your family could send you from other countries, your family working harder to send you money. So it's easy to protest from outside. It's easy to protest from your couch or what you see online, but actually living through it and know what it is, then they can't speak on it until they actually live it. Yeah.
So you probably saw some Democrats, including the new mayor of New York, Zoran Mamdani, literally declare that what Trump did on Saturday morning was illegal.
Right.
What do you think of that?
Again, if people don't live through it, they won't know how desperate us Venezuelans are for a change. I know they're talking about Trump only wanting the oil, but everybody's there for the oil. Russia, Iran, everybody is there for the oil already. China. So if Trump needs the oil to give us freedom, then that's a price we're willing to pay just so that we have our freedom and make a change. In 26 years, nobody has done anything for our country except for Trump. So if that's a price that he's the only one that has made an action on it, and he's the only one that has delivered his promise. So if that's the price we need to pay for it, then that's okay. Venezuela has a lot of other resources. It's not just oil. We have minerals. We have so many other things that once our country is better, then we, as Maria Corina always say, we will be an amazing country. We just need that change and somebody to help us for it.
You know, Sheila, I'm so happy that Alexa asked that question about Comrade Mamdani, because I have a suspicion that a little bit, maybe more than a little bit, of Venezuela is coming to the Big Apple in the months and years ahead under this communist sympathizer. So, but you know, it is amazing. I might be wrong, but I haven't come across anyone who is an expatriate of Venezuela saying, no, this is terrible. You know, he was a man of the people, and yet we have all this oil wealth, but no toilet paper. How does that even happen? But, Sheila, it again, if it was anyone else in the White House other than Donald J. Trump, this is being celebrated.
This would get you a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yep.
But it's Trump, so he doesn't get that, right? Like,
Yep.
peace broke out in the Middle East the first time around. And, like when you've got neighborhoods in the Golan Heights called Trump Heights, you've got the American media, leftist American media, calling him a Nazi. And I'm like, if he's a Nazi, why is he bringing peace to the Middle East? Like, he's not very good at this Nazi thing if you think he's a Nazi. And like now, he just extracted with like surgical precision a terrorist dictator who was surrounded by, and we'll get to it in a second, Cuban security forces, killed all the security forces without even so much as somebody being grazed by a bullet on the other side. I mean, it's fantastical. And again, this is the American military, how it should always be. But it hasn't been allowed to be that way. And I'm very glad that Venezuelan expat said that very important thing about the Venezuelan oil. We already talked about how it is the world's first largest proven reserve. Now, proven reserves and actual reserves are two different things, but we don't need to get into that. But much of it, after the Venezuelan government nationalized it, was shut in because international investment's not going to come along. You're going to nationalize our drilling rigs. So they've been largely isolated. There have been embargoes on a lot of their oil. And there's no investment. So when you don't have multinationals like Exxon, Chevron investing in your oil field, that oil wealth is a stranded asset. And as she pointed out, China's already there for the oil. Yep. Iran is already there for the oil. Someone's going to take the oil, and China and Iran are going to keep the bad guy in power. And Trump just liberated us, and she said it's a small price to pay.
Oh, 100%. And I think, Donald Trump, Sheila, is playing 3D chess here. It's more about, it's in addition to liberating the people of Venezuela, in addition to kickstarting the oil industry, because as you were alluding to, much of that infrastructure is dilapidated now.
It's gone. It's gone. It's shut in.
Yep.
When you put a socialist in charge of any business, it's screwed.
Yes.
Now you've got 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of catastrophic deterioration of your oil field when things are advancing at breakneck speed. It's like looking at a modern Canadian sort of computerized drilling operation versus the wooden derricks of yore, if you know what I mean. That's what they're dealing with there. So I see some people commenting. Actually, I'll just address it right now because we're on the topic. It's Wild Freedom 7 gives us $20 in a super chat, and I just want to address it because we're, instead of coming back to it later. How will the U.S. involvement in Venezuela affect Alberta oil and our oil in the future, and our potential new pipelines to BC in the U.S.? Well, first of all, I don't think we're going to get a pipeline through BC. Mm-hmm. I think if we are going to get a pipeline, it's going to have to go south and across. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a very long time before Venezuelan infrastructure is up to snuff. Now, the Americans obviously think it's worth the investment, and I believe it is true. I mean, if you could secure the world's largest proven oil reserve for your country, why wouldn't you? But it is going to be a very long time. And so really at the end of the day, the people talking about, like especially the liberals. Okay, there are a lot of people who are sort of like, oh my God, what does this mean for Alberta? Sincerely, nothing right now. And that's okay. But also, we don't have any pipelines anyway. Like, it's going to be years before we get any of those. But I don't want to hear it from liberals who are like, Trump snatching Maduro is going to be bad for Alberta oil. Excuse me? You guys are bad for Alberta oil.
Isn't it amazing?
All it does is expose how your policies have isolated us from international markets.
Yeah.
So of course you're scared that Trump's snatch and grab of Maduro is going to make you look bad. Of course you're worried about that. But don't do it out of concern for me, because I know that you don't feel that. I don't want to hear it from you, Kevin Vickers. I don't care.
Can you imagine, Sheila, the carny liberals have their come to Jesus moment about Alberta oil right after Trump goes into Venezuela? I mean, does it get any worse than that?
Right. And I'm supposed to believe they're sincere. And it's like, if you cared about Alberta oil, I'd have Northern Gateway right now. But, you know what I mean? Like, we could have built the Trans Mountain expansion without having to buy it. When you could have just enforced the law if you actually cared about those things. Now you're worried, like, Trump just can't take control of Venezuela. Well, he did.
Yeah.
So now what?
and you know, and Sheila, to finish my original point about this 3D chess, because you mentioned the regimes in Iran and China. And do you think maybe China is having second thoughts? I mean, it's rumored, it's been going on for months, even years, that they want to take back Taiwan in a military way. But after what they saw in terms of what the U.S. did in Venezuela, maybe they're having second thoughts about that. And how about Iran? Trump, several days ago, put out on Truth Social a warning that, you know, if you're going to shoot your own people who are part of these uprisings, this won't be tolerated. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And I've heard, Sheila, there in the rumor mill, the mullahs and ayatollahs in Iran are already reaching out to Russia as a safe haven out of Tehran in case these protests ramp up. And really, they're handcuffed after the president has said that, because we have seen that Trump does what he says. It's not an idle threat. So I think this is absolutely spectacular on the global chessboard of geopolitics right now.
What did Secretary of State Marco Rubio say the other day? And by the way, Marco Rubio, by the end of the week, he's going to be the governor of Venezuela, the governor of Mexico, the governor of Colombia, and possibly the coach of the Miami Dolphins. What did he say the other day? If you didn't know, now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you know. So yeah, I think there's some mullahs buying tickets to St. Petersburg.
Oh, I'm getting out of Dodge right away, Sheila. I'm not waiting around, because you know how quickly these things can happen on the ground, right?
Hours? 6 hours?
Yes,
That's all it
exactly.
took?
And you don't want to
don't
be
play
kind
games.
of, you don't want to be like Mussolini and his mistress being pulled over and ending up hung upside down in Italy. So, I mean, the sooner the better, and good riddance.
Yeah, you know what though? I'd like to see a few more of these people in Nike tracksuits and some like sleep masks, like Maduro, before the day is up. You know, we're really starting 2026 off with a bang. Just a note on the raid, as the CBC is calling it.
Yes.
It's the arrest, okay? It was the arrest of a very bad guy, a narco-terrorist. Yeah. It's a terrorism state, right? Yeah. Cuba says 32 of its officers were killed in the U.S. raid on Venezuela.
Why were they there?
Exactly. Cuba was providing all the security around Maduro. Now, this could be for a couple of different reasons, and I don't have a preference for a speculation either way. But the Americans just went and leveled the security forces around Maduro and grabbed him. And they were Cuban military and police officers. They were providing the security. And I wonder if it's for, like, it could be one of two reasons or both. Maduro couldn't trust a Venezuelan because he's so hated by the people.
That's a good observation.
Or perhaps Maduro has been negotiating an exit for himself. Or the Cubans were worried that Maduro would negotiate an exit for himself. And they made sure that their people were around him to make sure that he didn't. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'm glad the bad guys are dead. And I don't write me letters. I don't care. I'm glad the bad guys are dead.
So Sheila, please explain to me, what is the CBC getting at that this was a failure, this was a disaster, this was wrong because 32 Cuban military personnel were killed? I think that falls under the category of collateral damage when you're going to go in.
Yeah, I'm more worried.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I'm grateful that not a single American serviceman was hurt, and that no civilians were harmed in any of this. And they took out all the major strategic points before they went in and did this extraction. They made sure that there were no defenses to this, so that there wouldn't be collateral damage other than these 32 narco-terrorist enforcers. And Cuba's government announced 2 days of mourning over this.
Okay, well,
Don't care.
Don't care. Maybe they should be mourning for the Cuban people who have been under this dictatorship for half a century plus.
Yeah.
But and also on the mission in terms of no American lives lost, Sheila, they didn't even lose a piece of equipment, as I understand it. I mean that's uncanny.
One of my favorite things over the weekend, and it was just like, America is so back. And you just look and you're sometimes I get angry, a little bitter at the Democrats for taking Trump from us for 4 years, because it was the edit that Cosmin Georgia at True North did over the weekend. He took all the footage of the raids and he put it to a soundtrack, and then the Trump administration shared it. And it's just so cool. And it's like the American military could have been doing this for so long. And the Democrats just wouldn't let them. Do we have that clip? We should just show it because it went viral, and like, good for Cosmin for so this is Donald Trump sharing True North's edit of this. Watch. So cool. That's pretty cool. That's probably good. We're probably going to get in trouble for playing that. We're probably going to get a copyright strike. But just for the music.
Yes.
But what a time to be alive. Like, how do you not feel patriotic and strong as an American when you see that sort of stuff? It's a good time.
I don't know, Sheila. I mean, I understand in the male barracks you can't get tampons anymore, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But, Sheila, when watching that carnage, I have to wonder, just as an observer, where in blue hell was the Venezuelan military? Because not only did the Americans go in easy peasy, carry out the mission, they left without so much as a tracer flare on the fuselage of an aircraft. I mean, and the Americans weren't bombing some banana plantation in the hinterland. It's the presidential palace. So what happened?
So you can find it online, and I looked at it earlier, some analysis of how they did this, and it was a big distraction campaign. They were doing stuff over here, and there were targeted strikes in other places, which mobilized everything that way. And then the F-35 sort of came in and created a distraction while the helicopters came in to the presidential HQ. I don't want to call it palace. I don't know what it is, in Caracas. So it was just magical how they were able to pull this off. I mean, but that is the might of the Americans, and what a shame that they were prevented from doing this under the Democrats. We've got let's go to Mark Carney on this, because it was like almost a full day before Mark Carney said anything about what happened in Venezuela. And like even Justin Trudeau was against Maduro. He was pretty outspoken on Maduro. Now, like, where is he today on that issue? I don't know. He'd probably side with the rest of the crazy people in the mainstream media about how Trump is doing lawless things or whatever.
Probably.
But Mark Carney, it took hours and hours and hours for him to say something. Poilievre had come out with a statement. Conservative MPs had come out with a statement about, you know, like what a great day this was for the Venezuelan people. And of course, then the mainstream media reacted, and then Mark Carney weighed it. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you exactly do you do around here? And he said one of this, I think this was his first statement. Hours later, it was 3:15 in the afternoon. And so like, this is like 12 hours after the strikes. One of the first actions taken by Canada's new government was to impose additional sanctions on Maduro, blah, 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 blah. Canada attaches great importance to the resolution, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's a lot to say nothing and not a single word of thanks to the Americans.
Yep.
Not a single, like, congratulations, Donald Trump. Even Jason Kenney, who suffers from a great deal of TDS himself, said credit where it's due. The Americans did the right thing and they did it well.
Wow.
Yeah. And Carney couldn't come up with it. Like, great. Yeah, at least thank them for what they did.
Sheila, I can't believe it. Are you doing elbows up right now, or are you like...
It's this chair. I don't know how to sit in it. The back goes back too far.
I'm sorry, Goldilocks. Try the other one.
I know. The other one, because I sit on the edge of my chair, it was like I was falling out of it all the time because I sit forward like this. And so I wrecked it. And anyways, I got a new chair. And I'm still, it's too big for me. It's too wide. I'm swimming in it. It's like a love seat. We also have Mark Carney saying he spoke to Maria Corina Machado and affirmed Canada's support for a peaceful Venezuelan-led transition of power, one that respects the democratic will of the Venezuelan people. Great. I'm sure she feels extra motivated and supported.
And now he's back hard at work on the censorship bill.
He's in
Paris, right?
He's in Paris. I saw the Prime Minister's I'm on there. Not that I would ever be allowed to attend, but they do send me the press releases. It said that if you want to come see him leave for the airport, you can come take a picture. Thanks.
Oh, the great one.
Yeah. Anyway. National Post. This is what we talked about earlier, and then we'll hit an ad break and finish up the rest of the show. National Post. This is, again, why is there urgency now? Because they say, there is now a new urgency to Canadian pipeline construction that didn't exist prior to the weekend. Why? It should have always been urgent. Yeah. It's the Canadian economy, the Alberta economy, Canadian jobs. This stuff should have been urgent regardless of what's happening in Venezuela. But it wasn't. Yep. Now, what's happening in Venezuela is set to expose the Liberal failures while the Americans secure a strategic asset for themselves. We have always been a strategic asset for the Americans. Now they have two, and they will be building access to one, and we don't have the federal government allowing us to build capacity. Why is there urgency now? Why? There should have always been urgency.
Well, of course. Sheila, these tears are of the crocodilian variety, one. Two, I will believe this memorandum of understanding the day I see the shovel ceremony happening. And I don't think I'm going to live to see that. So give me a break.
Yeah. All this does is make Albertans more separatist when you see these people in the East wringing their hands like, oh, no, now we need to build Alberta pipelines. Oh, now. Now. We'll just... And then, like, when you see the Americans doing these big, like, wiener wagon things like this, it's like, oh, that could be us. Yeah. That could be us. Why are we here with the tampons in the men's room when that could be us? Yeah. You know? Anyway. Let's hit an ad break. We'll come back on the other side because Christopher Freeland is double dipping again. Ooh. And we'll talk about that.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same
We
rhetoric.
will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of
Hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted, while criminals run wild under Liberal policy. But we are fighting back. Join us, Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
You like the hat? Me too. Same strong message about making Canada great again, but in a really cool color, black and gold. There's other colors available, and it's an all-Canadian site. So if you want to signal your tribe or trigger a Liberal, go to mcgahats.ca today.
Big news, Rebel News now has premium memberships on X, Locals, and right here on YouTube. For just $4.99 a month on YouTube, you'll get loyalty badges, custom emojis, and access to members-only chats during our live streams. At $8.99 a month, you'll also unlock Rebel News Plus shows and our documentaries. But here's the catch. YouTube could cancel that premium tier at any time. That's why the best way to support us is at rebelnewsplus.com. It's just $8 a month, cheaper if you go annual, and you'll get exclusive extras like an ad-free site, comments access, and even the chance to submit op-eds. Wherever you join us, thanks for keeping our independent journalism alive and strong. All right, let's go into this news that I saw announced by a foreign I don't want to call him a dictator, but he did cancel the elections. So Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukrainian president, prime minister,
multi-millionaire perhaps these days.
President. He has just appointed Chrystia Freeland, she of destroying an entire section of Reuters when she was in charge there.
Yep.
She of, inflation getting you down, losing your house. Have you tried canceling Disney Plus? Advice, fame. She of cackling like a witch around a cauldron when she canceled bank accounts and froze the assets of the Freedom Convoy, is now the economic advisor, the Mark Carney to Justin Trudeau, to Volodymyr Zelensky. And I don't know if, I hear rumors, and I don't have any proof, but I hear rumors all the time that Zelensky's on cocaine. You would have to be on cocaine to say these things about Freeland. Chrystia is highly skilled in these matters and has extensive experience in attracting investment and implementing economic transformations. Oh, she transformed us all right. Right now, Ukraine needs to strengthen its internal resilience for the sake of Ukraine's recovery if diplomacy delivers results as swiftly as possible, and to reinforce our defense if, because of delays by our partners, it takes longer to bring this war to an end. Oh, delays by our partners, you say. I'm grateful to everyone who's ready to support our state and engagement with partners. Glory to Ukraine. This is just after we promised them more billions. I guess you don't have to hire the best to help with your economy when you just have money flowing in from the Western world with no strings attached. So we get cancel your Disney Plus and go to the food bank. They get billions from us and Chrystia Freeland while she continues to sit as an MP. Why? Because the Liberals are worried about not beg stealing and borrowing that majority that they want so much.
Yeah, well, Sheila, a couple things you've touched upon. One, par for the course in Liberal Canada, you fail upward, don't you? Her track record.
Like, she's double dipping. She's sitting as an MP while working for a foreign government. Excuse me.
Oh, Sheila, please stop asking impolite questions. We are dealing with Freeland. She might send her personal Gestapo on you. In her resume, you forgot to mention, it was this week 2 years ago that Uncle Fester of the Royal Canadian Mounted Henchmen falsely arrested and assaulted me, presumably at the direction of Fraulein Freeland. And by the way, I know it's, really a little thing, a bit of a sidebar here, but I don't believe, Sheila, she canceled her family's Disney Plus subscription. I really think that was for the little people like you and I and our viewers to do. Chrystia Freeland doesn't go without anything. So I'm calling BS on that.
Also, and I just put it in the chat, Olivia, something she's quite familiar with, covering up corruption. Ukraine's anti-corruption agency reported that security forces in their parliament were blocking officers from raiding it, as investigators revealed some MPs were involved in not a corruption probe, but a new corruption probe. String of corruption scandals. Well, it's going to feel like home for her, isn't it? That led to the resignation of the chief of staff to the president. It was a part of a $100 million kickback scheme in the energy sector, masterminded by an alleged personal friend of the president. Holy smokes. Copy paste from Canada over to there. This sounds like the Green Slush Fund. This sounds like a Arrive scam, but Green Slush Fund, where it's personal insiders, friends of the Prime Minister, benefiting from energy schemes. $100 million scandal. Come on, you guys, you can do better than that. The Green Slush Fund was like 220, I think. So, this is going to feel like home. And she's great at turning a blind eye to corruption as long as it benefits her. So should be fine. Should be fine for her.
Yeah, I don't, Sheila, to your point, I don't think she has to do better. She doesn't need to do better.
Right.
She's, I'm sure, filthy rich from her time in Parliament. And like I said, you're failing upwards, because just on that one example alone of bankrupting that division of Reuters that she was...
Reuters next.
Yeah.
Reuters next.
How do you live that down on your resume?
How do you live it down? Justin Trudeau saw that and was like, that lady should be in charge of our economy. That's the one for me.
Unbelievable.
This is where we're at.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
well, you know what,
liberal.
Sheila? Why don't we talked about a lot about international affairs. Why don't we talk about, this is really grinding my gears. Yet again, Ontario is saying it's going to hold firm on the U.S. booze ban at the LCBO. I'm very, very unclear what the number is. When they first took all of that California wine and Kentucky bourbon off the shelves of those hundreds of LCBO outlets, I was under the understanding, Sheila, it was about $1 billion of inventory. Now they're saying the number is 80 million. That is quite a discrepancy, unless maybe are we talking it's 80 million wholesale, almost 1 billion retail. Is that the confusion here? But they're going to allow this. In some cases, you're talking about products that have a best before shelf date, and they'd rather see it rot than get any revenue. This is a product that's being bought and paid for. This is Doug Ford's brother, Rob Ford, who coined the phrase respect for taxpayers, is rolling in his grave over this, Sheila. This is not Doug Ford's money to gamble with and do virtue signaling with. It is ours. And when I say ours, I mean as an Ontarian, the LCBO is a crown corporation. We are the shareholders. He has no right to do this.
First of all, I don't think there's more than a 10 times markup on the booze. Right? Like if it was 80 million versus 1 billion, it's more than a 10 times.
Where do these two numbers come from?
Well, I think it's like the panic of it all. So I think, when they're like, oh, we're pulling it off the shelf, we're sticking it to the Americans to the tune of $1 billion. And then once everyone's like, actually, you're sticking it to us right now because we already bought that booze and the LCBO is owned by the Ontario taxpayer. And they're like, oh, never mind. It's only 80 million.
Yes.
So I don't know how, are they writing it down so that it's, not, again, we use the term stranded asset. I don't know. But again, I watched what the Americans can do. And then the best we can do is, sorry, no bourbon. Like it's what a sad,
Sheila,
sad time.
Let me ask you this. Even if you agreed with a boycott of, say, Kentucky bourbon, why not sell off the stock that's already bought and paid for with a sign saying, hey, folks, When it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
I mean, you're achieving the same objective. Actually, it's a better objective because you're not squandering 80 million or almost a 1 billion, whatever the number is. And I don't know why we have such a hard time coming up with numbers. I remember, I'm going back about 7 years ago, we were trying as hard as we could to get the theft numbers out of the LCBO. And finally, the LCBO admitted, I think the number, I'm going by memory, Sheila, it was somewhere in the range of 2 to 6 million a year. And the union went, no, that's the union that represents the retail workers. It's actually closer to 77 million. Why? You would think of all products, you're really auditing liquor very closely. Why can't we get accurate figures on what's going out the door?
I just want to go back to your original question. I had to write it down because I was like, is that a real question? You are asking me why a government-run business monopoly did not do the right thing according to the bottom line.
You're right.
David, are you okay?
Yeah, no, 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 I'm not okay. Obviously, you have the evidence of that. And by the way, Sheila, as I've said so often, there is a role when it comes to government and booze, and that is to regulate it and tax it. That's it. You do not warehouse it. You do not retail it. And the biggest scam of all, Sheila, is that the LCBO, they can't privatize it. It's such a cash cow. No, no, no. The majority of those revenues are coming via taxation. So if they were to privatize it, as your province did rightly back in the 90s, you are still making that revenue, that all those millions
on the sin tax,
is coming into the government coffers.
You're making money on the sin tax, but you're also making money on the corporate tax.
Yep.
These are all business. You know what? And like, if you go into any small town in Alberta, there's 1-2 liquor stores. You go into a major municipality, you throw a handful of gravel, you're going to hit 3 liquor stores, beer stores, whatever. And these are all people living their entrepreneurial dream. They've got a retail outlet. It's making money. They're hiring people. They're an economic force in the neighborhood. And that in Ontario is being stolen from regular people by the government. And I find it irritating every time that I'm there. And I'm like, why is this liquor store closed at 7 or 8 o'clock? On a Saturday? You know, like you could roll into a small town liquor store in Alberta. It's open till 2 a.m.
Yep.
You know, it's selling booze on banker's hours. Never made sense to me.
And you know, Sheila, since you are in Alberta, you can prove the fallacy of this statement. When you look at Ontario and all the other provinces that have liquor control boards, the ostensible policy reason for that board is this murky phrase, social responsibility. Translation, because we're government, we ascribe to a higher standard. You see, if we were to let the private sector, which is obsessed with profits, sell liquor, well, the next thing you know, there'd be a bunch of 15-year-olds drinking Colt 45 in the parking lot getting wasted. Sheila, you've had a privatized system for so many years. Is that the reality on the ground with Alberta liquor stores?
No, in fact, I was just pulling up the statistics because I thought about it. The most alcoholic place in Canada is Quebec, and Alberta is somewhere near the bottom. But the lowest is Nunavut, where it's so tightly controlled. No. So we're not even close to being the heaviest drinkers in Canada. But it's just so darn inconvenient in Quebec. We're not, it's as free, I think, as it is anywhere in the country here in Alberta when it comes to booze sales, although we can't buy it at the grocery store. It's weird. But you can buy it in the store attached to the grocery store. I don't know why I have to walk out and go in the other door, but whatever. But the standalone liquor stores are absolutely everywhere. They're all privatized, and it's not any more social mayhem here than it is anywhere else in the country.
100%. And I think I've said this anecdote before, Sheila. When I was working in Alberta in 1986, I took a trip to Southern California, see some friends. I was put up for a few days. I'm in the Santa Barbara area. And I just wanted to show a token of my appreciation by buying a case of beer for putting me up. And I had to go to first 2 liquor stores. The answer was no. I was 23 at the time. I had photo ID, my Alberta driver's license. But the rule is, if you look under 30 in California, they don't recognize out-of-state ID, much less out-of-country. Finally, I went to a grocery store. The cashier called the manager. He had to make a judgment call. And what was told to me is, look, yeah, I know you're over 21. I know this isn't a sting operation. But if it is, I think the first fine is 10 grand. The second one is 50. And the third one is you lose your license. You're out of business. So they were completely socially responsible in terms of keeping liquor out of the hands of minors, Sheila.
Well, and also, let's also point out that Alberta, our liquor sales start at 18. So like, we're more free. You can, if you can vote, if you can serve in the military, you can buy a beer. I don't know why it's 19 in other parts of this country. It makes absolutely no sense to me.
Oh, I can tell you the Ontario thing. I can tell you why it changed in Ontario. It used to be 18. And then they raised it 1 year because at the time we had grade 13. So they didn't want 1 year of students having access to liquor and the others not. But even if you think that's a valid explanation for raising the drinking age, grade 13 is no more. So in theory, it should go back down to 18 in Ontario, right?
Right, but it's same thing at 8. The same thing would happen at 18. Some kids get older halfway through the year, right? Like I graduated at 17. Yeah. My daughter graduated at 18. She could have a drink at her grad. I had to wait till I was drunk at a bush party. You know what I mean? Like I just don't like the nanny statism. Let's quickly touch on the foreign affairs or the foreign agents registry, and then Tim Walz resigning in shame, and then the Minneapolis mayor Jacob Fry just doing the old.
That's our cringe video, isn't it?
Yeah, he's doing a Mark Carney. We saw this dropped, and I didn't get a chance to get to it because we were all sort of on idle as much as we could be over the Christmas break. The Friday after the New Year's Day, they dropped these regulations onto the Canada Gazette, which is where they put these policy announcements, and most people don't pay attention to them. But the Foreign Agents Registry is supposed to initially be, I think it was a $5 million fine if you didn't properly register. And now it's a $50 fine if you don't register. What a slap on the, that's really going to deter China, the world's second largest economy, from meddling in our elections for the 4th time in a row. If they're going to get a $50 fine. So threaten to kidnap Joe Tay, $50 fine. And also, I was reading through the announcement, and they said, we have to be very careful about how we word things because it can be perceived as racist. And it's
come
like,
on.
Oh yeah. I'll find the exact wording. But it was basically we have to take a country neutral tone. And I'm like, but it's not the Italians. You're not. The Italians aren't meddling. It's Iran. It's Pakistan. It's Russia. It is China. Those are the big offenders. Like, what? Quit telling us we're not supposed to recognize patterns here.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, they stripped it down to a $50 fine. And if you don't register as a foreign lobbyist, well, you might get a $50 fine, which is less than a parking ticket, by the way. I want to point that out. And you could just sign like an agreement to, well, next time around, I promise to register as a foreign lobbyist in your country.
You know, you framed it so beautifully. It is less than a parking ticket. I know in Toronto when the streets go to a no stopping zone, that's $300 ticket, Sheila. Plus, you have to find out where they towed your vehicle to, and you got to pay the tow and pay the storage fee. So that's more egregious, I guess, in the eyes of our great leaders than foreign interference. That is shocking. What is $50 anymore?
Also, the names were supposed to be public. If you're one of the, they say approximately 2,400 people on this list, and the reason I know so much about this is I just recorded a video on it before, and as you know, I sat through like the full 6 to 8 weeks of the Foreign Interference Commission. And so I know more about this than I wish I knew. But it's about 2,422 people are potentially should be on this foreign agents list. The list should be public, right? It was modeled after the Americans, foreign agents, whatever, legislation. And the list is supposed to be public so that as a politician, you know who you're meeting with, right? Like, or as a company, you know who you're dealing with. But that won't be public. Why? According to the government's own words, quote, racialized groups may experience suspicion or discrimination if foreign agents are publicly named, especially if certain countries show up more than others.
This is outrageous.
Yeah.
You know, Sheila, remember the icon of Lady Justice, blindfolded, holding a sword in one hand, a scale in the other? That is what we are supposed to ascribe to, isn't it? That
we've got foreign agents following Canadian politicians like Michael Chong. We've got people being targeted like Kenny Chu for massive disinformation campaigns. Joe Tay, they threatened to kidnap him.
Yep.
And what's the worst that's going to happen to these people? $50 and we'll never know your name. On what? But here's how I knew the fix was in. Besides the sitting through the show theater of the Hogue Commission and her making a big announcement saying, actually, we're not even going to tell you the 11 parliamentarians who have benefited from foreign interference because they haven't been criminally convicted. So now we know they'll never tell us anybody because the names won't be made public. But she was appointed Deputy Justice Minister like last month by Mark Carney. So that's when I was like, nothing's getting fixed. Nothing. She is getting her reward for doing what she did. And now she's part of the bureaucratic force that will implement these new pathetic regulations. And so I bring on the next election when we're just flooded with Chinese money to help the likes of Han Dong.
Well, you've just said it. What is the ostensible policy reason, the unspoken strategy, if you will, of why the Liberals would be so soft on this particular crime?
The help only goes one way. The help only goes one way.
The crime is benefiting the Liberal Party of Canada. Simply put, prove me wrong.
Well, that's exactly it. And by the way, the Liberals real concerned about privacy for these foreign agents. And it's like, you people weren't concerned about privacy when you were using a hacked list of names to go after the Freedom Convoy donors. You didn't care about privacy then. But now you care about it for foreign agents. You didn't care about it for Canadian citizens who just wanted to be free.
Yeah.
You losers.
And spend their own money as they wanted to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Anyway, I did a video on it. So watch for it, guys. As you can tell, I'm kind of, I have no more gruntles left. No, I'm not just disgruntled. The gruntles aren't here. They're gone. There are no gruntles in the room with me anymore. Let's just touch on this thing with Tim Walz. Paying, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions, Tim Walz. But he was like so close to being the VP. Now he's got to resign in shame because he's allowed just so much corruption in his state with these Somali daycares. I think the most viewed video of all time on X is that the Somali daycare.
It must be up there.
It's got to be up there anyway.
And the sidebar here, Sheila, is where was the mainstream media, especially the ones based in Minneapolis, who must have known what was going on? Why did this kid with an iPhone uncover this scoop?
Right. Because the media are Democrats. Yep. That's all it is. And so he's allowed this, like millions of dollars to flow into daycare facilities where there are no kids. Like I'm now concerned about the rest of the daycare, the actual daycares in the States. Who's checking on these places? Or were they just not checking the Somali daycares? Like, daycares should be licensed. They should be like have people making sure that the place is safe for the kids, that it's not a crack house. They like all those things, right? And so, who is checking on any of the daycares in the state? Yeah. Nobody, at all.
You know what says it all to me, Sheila, was one of the daycare centers, the name. The Leering Center.
The Leering Center.
They forgot the N. You know,
yeah.
Boy, we're doing a lot of leering at this Leering Center.
I saw somebody say, like, if you, like, because the excuses were like, when they went there and there were no kids, they're like, how dare you? What a privileged position that you have, that you think that daycares only operate like 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 or 7 to 6 or whatever it is. Some people work shift work. Wow. And so the kids weren't there later. And someone's like, if you believe that, you graduated from the Leering Center.
Wow. So, you know what, but what I'm, you know, I always try to think one move ahead. Where is Governor Walz going to go? What's his golden parachute here, Sheila?
I don't know. I think by the end of the day, if I had to guess, this will just be something that Marco Rubio's in charge of by the end of the day. Yeah. Like, poor Marco Rubio suffering the curse of competency. I feel that sometimes. But yeah, like, I don't know where Tim Walz goes. I guess when you are a successful Democrat, the world is your oyster, even if you're caught in corruption. Like, look at the Clintons, right? Yeah. Look at the Clintons. I don't know what Kamala Harris is doing these days, but I'm sure she's fine. You can just get away with sometimes murder, and all manner of corruption and crime if you're a Democrat. So I'm sure Tim Walz will be fine.
And can you imagine, Sheila, that a year and a bit ago, if things didn't go the right way, that guy is the vice president. He is second to the commander-in-chief.
Instead, we've got Trump just black bagging Maduro in the middle of the night.
Oh, my God.
Oh, thank you, American people, for giving that back to us. You gave that to the world. Thank you. Libs of TikTok. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry. I saw him described as the Trudeau of Minneapolis, and I believe it. Dancing with Somalis on a visit to Somalia. And then Libs of TikTok is like, JK, it's his voters in Minneapolis.
Unbelievable.
What is happening here? Jesus, take the wheel. Get me out of this. No more. Oh, it's just like the elbows up dance, like that. There's a point at which during the elbows up dance, Mark Carney does this.
Yeah.
And it just makes me crawl out of my skin the whole time.
And his wife, to echo the effect. But Sheila, I have full disclosure.
He looks like a Halloween skeleton, like one of those tall, life-size Halloween skeletons. That's who she reminds me of. Anyway, I don't want to hear anything from you, David Menzies, about the Minneapolis mayor. You've got Olivia Chow, who's constantly shaking her moneymaker in her granny panties out on the street for the world to see.
You know what? You must be reading my mind. But I know precious little about Somalian culture. Is that somehow a Somalian dance? I mean, like, I've never seen it in my life. Even with the elbows up clips, even with Olivia Chow dressing up as a Carabana dancer. I've never seen those moves, Sheila.
I don't know what that was. But I just think as a mayor, we should have a rule. And if you break it, Trump's going to black bag you and take you to New York to prosecute you. If you're a mayor, I don't want to see you dancing anywhere, ever. Even if you're a good dancer, even if it's a country dance, I don't want to see you two-stepping out in public. This is for the private functions. Just if you're a mayor in the Western Hemisphere, if you're dancing, Trump's coming. Pete Hegseth and the boys are coming to get you. That should be the rule. If I were in charge, that'd be it.
Well,
We've
Sheila,
got a few chats. No, we got some chats we got to get to.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, and I dealt with one earlier. Aaron Burton 32 gives us $5. Happy New Year, Rebels. Wish you happiness, freedom, and safety in 2026 and beyond. Thanks for all you do. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Although, like I said, don't wait for a date on the calendar to fix something that you need to fix. Just do it. Otherwise, it just gets worse. So just deal with it. That's my mantra. We addressed Wild Freedom 7. JP Alberta First gives us $5 and says there will be constant photos and videos of Maduro. This will be to dispel the inevitable claims from the left that he's being mistreated. Honestly, I don't care if he's being mistreated. Honestly, I don't care. Like I've seen how he treats Venezuelans. He should only be treated as well as he treated Venezuelans in a perfect world. Now I get
that's harsh.
You know, I get that I'm not supposed to be like that, but I am a spiteful, vengeful woman sometimes. But yeah, but also like these perp walks, the going from opulent wealth to your Nike tracksuit a la Heaven's Gate cult. It's humiliating for him, and I'm enjoying it to no end. Yeah.
As am I.
Yeah. Sasquatch Chronicles gives us $49.99. Holy smokes! Thank you so much. There's money in squatching. It says Europe is really upset about the Maduro incident. They are threatening to this is so funny. They're threatening to call the head of NATO to file a complaint. Europe calling the head of NATO to complain. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, this is the United States speaking. How can we help you? Exactly.
Oh, more likely, your call is very important to us. Please stay on hold.
Yeah. You know what? I would just love if they call NATO and it's Marco Rubio. Like, just another thing Marco Rubio's doing. And it'll be, if you didn't know, now you know.
Well, thank you for that generous donation. That's very nice.
That's crazy. Thank you. NNCIM2 gives us $6. Hello, Rebel News. Happy New Year. Things are kicking well for me in 2026. Lots of support. It's Donald. Yes. Lots of people are rooting for me. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Donald.
Good. Happy New Year.
Alberta Don gives us $5. Please discuss Carney's recent deal to put all of Canadian digital info into a huge database with UK and Europe. This includes vaccine status and banking. How long till it's hacked? Okay. We will. I just don't know enough about it to talk about it right now. And I think when people talk about stuff that they don't know a ton about, they just look like idiots. So I'm not going to do that.
Okay. Then. I think
we're not done.
Thank you. And
we're not done.
Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to our first show.
We're not done. We still have one more chat.
Oh, I thought you said we are done.
No, we're not done. Oh, sorry. Can Olivia indulge me? It's the first one of the year. Please show that before we get to the last chat. I want to show this clip of Tim Walz because we talked about Tim Walz not running. Again, he's bowing out. But Tim Walz just ran away from questions from journalists who are now doing journalistic work, following up on the work of that young independent journalist who exposed the daycare scandal. This is from Eric Daughtry. It says, holy smokes, reporters in the room were fuming at Tim Walz for running away from their questions after he dropped out of the race. Anyways, somebody... let's just watch it. I haven't seen it yet. Let's watch it. I like to see bad things happen to bad people. I just said that, so let's watch.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's wild.
Yeah, I love the one question I could hear at least, Sheila. You said you were going to take questions. Why didn't you? No response.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. Because they're going to ask you about the Somali daycares and why you didn't check up on them. Yep. Like when you're giving, I think one of them got $70 million. First of all, the cost per kid there is outlandish. Yeah. But if one of them got $70 million and there's no kids there, like one of them was supposed to have 78 kids there, I think. And like nobody's checking up on the health and welfare of 78 kids. Really?
And Sheila, at the end of the day, it's a joke and it's a tragedy at the same time. Riddle me this. Who is the biggest funder of the Al-Shabaab terrorist organization in Somalia? And the answer, the Minnesota taxpayer.
And Al-Shabaab, they threatened West Edmonton Mall a few years ago.
What?
Yes. Al-Shabaab. I know, you just get lost in the number of terror incidents happening here in Canada. But I think it was like in 2015, 2016.
What did the West Edmonton Mall do to them?
I don't know. But there's a large Somali contingent that lives on the west end of Edmonton. And I don't know what happened, but there was like a terror threat against West Edmonton Mall by Al-Shabaab. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. We've got one from RC Lamoureux, and I just need to fact check this one. David, do you want to read this while I fact check this?
Okay.
Can you even see that?
Can we increase it for my... Maybe Olivia thinks I'm Clark Kent here, but I assure you I am not. Oh, it just completely disappeared.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Sheila. Oh,
Okay,
here we go. Does Carney qualify as the Antichrist? He moved Brookfield from Canada to 666 Fifth Avenue, New York City. He's involved in the destruction of the West End Canada. I wouldn't read into it that much. I just think, Sheila, as I've said on many occasions, I really think Brookfield is running Canada.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a
States of
religious
Brookfield.
thing unless it's the cult of money. But, as for the address, well, consider
not.
this coincidence.
Yeah, but it's not. Like, it's not that address.
Oh, I
And,
see.
Yeah, it's real easy to find. There's Brookfield Place. It's named Brookfield Place, okay? And this is in New York. It's 250 Vesey Street, 15th floor. But there's also, and that's the Manhattan address. So that's Vesey Street. So 250 Vesey Street.
Maybe the viewer would like to touch base with us in terms of how we got the erroneous address.
You see people just posting stuff just to get clicks, and then people share it, and it takes on a life of its own. But it's real easy to Google. Just Google. But yeah, Brookfield. It's actually called Brookfield Place, so you don't have to look hard to find it. And it's on Vesey Street. It's the 15th floor. Anyways, it's right there in Manhattan. All right, I think that's it. Now we can wrap up the show. David, go ahead.
All right. Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the first show of 2026. Sheila will be back here tomorrow with the best-selling author, Lise Merle.
Best-selling LGBTQ plus children's author.
Yeah,
Lise
I
Merle.
had to leave that out because I can't remember the Q's and the L's and the B's and where they all
I've
go.
gotten real good at it because I've been calling her an acclaimed LGBTQ plus children's author. I've been calling her husband an acclaimed LGBTQ plus AI graphic designer.
There you go.
Add that to your resume.
Well, there's some foreshadowing of the mirth you will receive tomorrow. I'll be back here on Friday, I believe, with the Rebel News Roundtable. And a thank you to everybody that tuned in, and a special thanks to all those who made those generous donations. In the meantime, as always, stay safe and stay sane.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. Members get instant access to all of our shows, invitations to exclusive events, and access to our premium content like live event footage and documentaries you won't see anywhere else. Only Rebel News Plus members can join the conversation by participating in the comments section of our new website. That way you can have your say too. More than anything, though, you'll be able to take pride in supporting real, honest journalism, and you'll help our talented team continue to do the work to push back on the establishment. We really can use your help. We need it, in fact. So thank you, and enjoy Rebel News Plus.